Hello everybody, how is it going? So, today, finals of the previous preliminary tournament, Katakuri, 7 Mom, Sparrow, Pudding, Sky Island 2K, and Smoothie. Okay, I got that in time. But how's it going everybody? Been a minute, sorry about that. Very few uploads, but I feel like I'm finally starting to do a bit better. Real quick, Purple Luffy's hand, page 1, Blocker Law, Kid, Queen, and that's a Magellan. Yeah, I think I'm finally starting to do a bit better. I have a cough that's kind of on and off. Right now seems pretty under control, so I'm sitting down recording this video. There is another tournament that happened after this one by a couple days, and I would have been covered it, but I haven't really been uploading, so here we are. This is the finals of the, I believe it's the Aichi, if I'm saying that right. I'm not sure. I have to double check, but this is the finals. We saw this matchup prior, different player, different Katakuri player, but the same Luffy player. I believe that was the match where he just played all blockers, which was pretty funny. But Luffy going first, so Katakuri is good in that department. Getting to go second is what he wants. Grabs 2 Dawn. 1 will probably just be used for this pudding. And yeah, sounds like a turn. But we are getting very close to OP05. Obviously, Japan just got OP06, which is very cool. I've been watching a little bit of content for OP06, and so far Reiju is looking super fun, and they did implement OP06 on the sim, so I would like to check out some of those decks, but maybe I'll do that before OP05 comes out, because I would like to do more OP05 content, because that is coming, I think, December 8th, so that's pretty soon, so maybe I'll try to get those OP06 videos out before that happens. But Katakuri finding a 7 Mom off the pudding. I don't know if that's exactly what he wants. He does already have one, but it can always just be a discard for a trigger effect. Can't complain. Luffy going up to 3 Dawn. He'll probably ramp 1, go up to 4. Get down most likely at page 1. Sounds good. Just gonna poke at Katakuri. It is also very interesting that Sakazuki isn't here in the finals of this tournament. I feel like there is probably just a lot of Katakuri, and I do think Lucci struggles into Katakuri, so yeah, very interesting that we don't see what is assumed to be the best deck in this format in the finals. Also, Luffy drops the Apu and not the page 1. My bad. Looks like Katakuri grabbed a 2 billion volts. He's on 4 Dawn. It's gonna look like the Katakuri classic of attacking for 7 and playing down a Sparrow. But yeah, I'm curious if this format has almost become like a triangle, like the previous format has become, where it's like Katakuri beats Sakazuki, Sakazuki beats kind of everything else, and then like the other decks have a pretty decent matchup into Katakuri. I'm not sure how great Luffy is into Katakuri. I imagine it is fine. We saw Luffy beat Katakuri the other round. They do play a lot of blockers. Again, Katakuri doesn't like blockers. I do think Luffy is also quite aggressive and is able to take his life, so he doesn't have to eat life from like the Big Mom effect. But also has the Magellan, which is going to be pretty solid here. I imagine that's definitely what you want to get down. You want to throw Katakuri off of his curve. Sounds solid. But it definitely might not become a triangle. We know the Western people here, we love our red decks, so there might be some form of new list that does well into what's his name? Sorry, Sakazuki. I'm saying a lot. Fire Fist, the new Fire Fist, is very, very good into Sakazuki, especially in Red Purple Law. And I know right now Red Purple Law is a pretty popular deck. It just is gonna get better next set, so that is cool. My only problem is I feel like it is a bit like lacking a little bit of consistency. Even next set, you're really reliant on just like seeing your searchers to find cards you want. Also, sorry, Luffy swinging for 6. I imagine Katakuri will take one of these hits, counter out of the other. But yeah, Law is looking, or Red Purple Law is looking very good next set. Red Green Law is probably still going to be pretty solid. I know before like the low end Sakazuki deck came out, Red Green Law did good into Sakazuki, but you know the list that was playing top end, and now Sakazuki, it's very uncommon that they're playing anything higher than the 7-drop Borsellino. So by the way, Katakuri counters out of the 6, takes the 7k. Luffy plays down 5-drop Kid and passes it back. But yes, I am definitely interested how our format is going to resolve. I'm curious if they're going to make any more changes to our ban list. Like, I know they said they're going to revert the one that made this format, the 4.5 format, but I'm curious if they're going to bring back like Whitebeard for like Red Purple Luffy. Something tells me they probably won't, but I really want to play that deck at full power. I think that deck is really cool. I don't know. Just having like 9-drop Newgate and 7-drop Kid, having a 9k leader, just sounds fun. I also really like the Gear 5 10-drop. Both really cool cards. But something tells me they won't do that, and you'll just have the one Whitebeard. And if you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. But Katakuri is on 6th on. I don't think he has a vanilla to play this turn, so it's probably just be aggressive. Just poke for a little bit, maybe get down. What does he have? His elbow is kind of blocking his hand. Not sure, but is poking for 6 probably at life? And that is going to be met with a 2k. So yeah, that swing was at life. Now Katakuri can go 7 or 8 with leader. Maybe gets down the Paris Sparrow. The next turn he can play either 8-drop Katakuri or 7 Mom, either one. Yep, it's going to attack for 8. Checking his own life, it looks like. He's going to leave it on top. So it could be a trigger. Could also just be a card he wants to see. I always find playing Katakuri that putting your top end at the bottom of your life feels pretty bad. So I feel like whenever they leave something at top, it's either the top end or it's a trigger. You could bottom the top end, but I feel like late game, it kind of matters. Oh, okay, and that 8k swing was at the Apu. And then Katakuri tapping 3, getting down another Paris Sparrow and passing. He still is at 4 life, which is definitely where he wants to be. Hasn't really taken many of the little pokes. Katakuri, sorry, Luffy, did he grab his Dawn? I think he did. He should be on 7 this turn, hasn't unramped or anything like that. I'm surprised he didn't take the Magellan opportunity sooner. I feel like that could be very strong. To be fair, if he does it this turn, we do know Katakuri has the 7 Mom, but it still does throw up the 10-drop Mom curve. So that is something. He plays the Queen though, returns a Dawn. That'll just be recycled by the 5-drop Kid. He's gonna draw 2, sees an X-Drake and a 7-drop Kid. I feel like 7-drop Kid is a little bit awkward to play now. So yeah, it looks like he's gonna trash that. Then Kid will re-ramp the Dawn. Still at 5 Dawn, so he could play down that Magellan, which I don't think is bad. Katakuri also only has 5 cards in hand? Yeah. So the blocker law is not going to be able to rip any cards unless he takes this 5k and this 6k from the blocker Kid and his leader. And I guess that is an option, but looks like he definitely wants to counter out of this one. So yeah, it gives him a 2k. And I think he is out of counter now. So any more little pokes will go through. So if he wants to swing with that Kid, could be good. A little bit scary to swing here though, just because you know he left his life on top. So it definitely could be a trigger. Luffy picking up the Magellan. I do think it's a decent time to do it. It's not the worst, not the best. It does delay the 10 Mom, but right now Katakuri doesn't have a 10 Mom, so we'll just have to see. But Luffy playing down the Magellan, minusing a Dawn, and his opponent will as well. And not swinging with either of the blockers. Okay. Really wants to keep all of his defense up, which is fair. Katakuri does have two 5k bodies, so having these 6k blockers up does tax him a Dawn if he wants to swing without it getting free blocked. And now Katakuri is at 7, so basically the two blockers will mitigate two of the free swings, quote unquote, and then he just have to counter out of one 5k if Katakuri does play the 7 mom. Katakuri attacking 4 or 5. I imagine you probably counter out of this one, free block the next one, and then see what Katakuri does with the last swing. If it's just all going to be 5Ks, then obviously you'll just take the next free block. Deciding between either pitching the Law or the page 1, pitches the Law, says he probably has enough blockers. And I do believe this is just going to be Katakuri playing down the 7 mom. Definitely sounds like the best play this turn. I mean, alternatively, 3,000 or 2 billion volts doesn't really even hit anything. No real point in that. Gonna check with another 5k. Luffy should take one of the free blocks, and he does, that's good. Now Katakuri will tap 7, play down the big mom, and Luffy will immediately trash his life. Trashes a queen. Could have been good, but it's alright, he still has the two 6k blockers now. He's gonna pick up... What'd he pick up? Oh, he's blocking me, come on. He is on 10 Dawn though, so can kind of play whatever. I don't see a 9-drop Kaido, which is pretty unfortunate on the Luffy's end. I feel like we really want that for the aggression. Also just clears a Sparrow for free. Sure, you give him a card, but you don't have to deal with another 5k swing. So he has a 7-drop Kid, a Queen, looks like a Law blocker, and a Vanilla that I feel like you could all consider playing this turn. I feel like you'd want to get down maybe the 7-drop Kid, and then you'd -1 and re-ramp with the blocker Kid. Then you could either get down a blocker Law or a page 1. So if you really want to swing with one of your blockers now, you can get 3 attacks in, play Kid, play down the blocker Law, and still end up with 2 blockers. So you should be still pretty safe. You also have a very wide board, which is what you want in preparations for the 10 mom. The 10 mom is delayed, so not too bad. Luffy playing down 7-drop Kid. He's gonna put back a Dawn and then just get it right back. So leader's at 6k. Has a ton of 6ks this turn if he wants to take all of them. I imagine you probably want to swing between swinging with Kid and swinging with Queen. It's weird because you don't want to really block with Kid because you don't want him dying, but also if you swing with him, it's they could swing at him a bunch. But I feel like you're more okay with sacking off Queen if you have to just block something and not counter than you are with just letting 5-drop Kid die. But so far, Katakuri has taken the first life, and now he is looking at the trigger for the second life. Looks like he's just going to grab it to hand. It was a Beji, saying, yeah, I'm not really going to need it. You're just going to stop one of the blockers and he'll just swing with the other one, so kind of feels pointless. Luffy playing down the Law. I don't think Katakuri has enough cards for that effect to activate, and just passes, so opting not to swing with the Kid or the Queen. Katakuri's board is a little bit scary, and only having one blocker I guess is maybe not the way, but I feel like Luffy still would have survived. It looked like he had a decent amount of counter in hand if he wanted to take a swing with one of the blockers. But this does get a little bit scary, because if Katakuri 7 moms again, and then you have to trash your life, you're almost forced to go for game next turn, right? If he Katakuris, I could hit your 7-drop Kid, and then you're still in a pretty bad spot, honestly. You don't really want to take another turn getting down that Kid. Katakuri is in a very good position, quite honestly. Sure, the board is pretty scary from Luffy's end, but you're still at 2 life. You have top end in hand. You have a lot of cards in hand, quite honestly. Should be at 7 right now. after the draw. Yeah. I don't know, this match is genuinely pretty close. I feel like Luffy just doesn't have... It doesn't feel like he has as many cards as he should have, and I don't know why exactly that is, but that just kind of is what it is. So if Katakuri wants to get down more top end this turn, he will still have one spare Dawn to swing with his leader, and then he can already swing with the 7-drop Mom, so not looking bad. He taps 8, plays down the Katakuri. I imagine that will hit the Eustace, which is very, very strong. And probably just takes the 8k swing with Linlin and the 7k swing with leader, and calls it a day. Is there? Yeah, no, there's no point in swinging with the Sparrows because there's just two 6k blockers there. Attacks for 8. Probably a lead. I imagine you don't want to hit the Magellan because that just sets you a turn back. Okay, so it actually was at Magellan, and Luffy lets that go. Katakuri will force to be -2 Dawn. Interesting. I guess just that's fair. You cleared 2 bodies off the board. Luffy is not looking the best, quite honestly. Like, I feel like you're almost in a spot where you have to go for game next turn, because if not, you're just going to keep getting stuck with having to leave your blockers active, and you're really not going to have enough swings to close out this game, and then Katakuri will be in a pretty big advantage if he just gets to keep playing his top end, already establishing, 2 of his bigger bodies here. So Luffy does counter out of the 7k because he's at 6 because of the 7-drop kid. And yeah, like, do you just try? You can't even really go for a game this turn. It's really awkward. You have a queen, you have another kid, so you could kind of just like swing with 2 of your blockers, swing with Luffy, and then play down both of the 5-drop blockers and just like hope that's enough. You are still at 2 life, so I guess that's not the worst. Plays the queen first, minuses a Dawn, draws 2. Looks like you found a Polly and another. Oh wait, no. Wait, what is that card? Is that like Sheep Song or something like that? I honestly have no idea what it does, but they're flashing it on the screen. I'm curious. I gotta look up what that card does. I'm trying to see if there's any numbers in the text. This is -1. I don't know. No clue. I'll have to look at that card after this video is done. But re-ramping 1 from the 5-drop kid. And if the game plan is just to play the other 5-drop kid, you could have played that first, then played the queen. I mean, what else would you really want to play? So thinking about attacking just for 5. Okay, yep. Just swings for 5. This will probably just be countered out of. It is nice that, at least right now, Katakuri doesn't have 10 Mom. Honestly, it might get to a spot where playing 10 Mom is a bad idea, unless he can defend all of the hits this turn. But 7k coming through with the queen, he might end up taking that one. He can counter out of it, but then he's going to take another swing. Unless Luffy's going to play it very safe and keep the rest of his blockers active. But at that point, I feel like we're not playing to win, we're just playing to eventually lose. So you're probably swinging with one more of your blockers. Probably the Eustace. We're looking at NL's hand. Not NL, sorry. I've been playing a lot of NL. NL's very fun. But I don't know. Honestly, I feel like as this meta, oh my goodness, that is disgusting. That Thunderbolt is... Oh man. That's probably game winning, honestly. That might have just sealed the game. Because not getting this swing here kind of sucks. We have to leave all these blockers up, or we might just die. That is crazy. Definitely not what you want to see as the Luffy player. My goodness. Yellow is kind of good. So Katakuri is at 9 Dawn. Doesn't have a 10 Mom, so that really doesn't matter. He can play like a 7 Mom, but then Luffy probably just lives and maybe kills you on the crackback, so that might be a little bit risky. Maybe you just start checking with your 8Ks, see how he responds, and you do have a Thunderbolt in hand to try to go for game. But Luffy still does have 2 life, so a little bit interesting. If anything, maybe you play 8-drop Cat and heal. It's still a tough spot, even without that Thunderbolt. Like, that Thunderbolt went crazy, but like you still gotta think this through, because you're staring down 3 blockers and you're at 1 life. You don't have a really like efficient way to heal. Like, yeah, you can kind of curry, but I mean, if you 7 mom, he trashes a life. You still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swings, but you only have 3 Dawn to work with. Luffy has 4 cards in hand, either 4 or 5. I think it's 4. The last card is kind of throwing me off. There might be a card under it, but there are 2 2Ks in Luffy's hand and 1 1K. You know that the Eustace doesn't have counter, so I guess if you 7 mom, you know that that life isn't going to give him extra counter. But there's still 3 blockers. That means at least 3 of your attacks can be dealt with, and then they just need to counter out of 2, which it maybe isn't the easiest, but it really just depends how you think they're going to play it. Looks like Katakuri is tapping 2. Is this the Thunderbolt? Is he going for it? No, he's going for the 2 billion volts. Oh yeah, that does get value by tapping the blocker law. Okay, so lethal is actually a lot more doable than I realized. I forgot that taps blocker law. Okay, so Katakuri might just be able to go for game this turn. Has the answer to 2 blockers and has a ton of swings. So yeah, it's looking like it. He's gonna swing for 8k at life, obviously. There's no point in going for board. And Luffy does have 2 2Ks, but you maybe just take this one just to see if there's counter there. It's a bad spot for Luffy. Now that I'm looking at that I realized that the 2 billion volts is there. It's very strong, because pretty much he just has 1 blocker now. So yeah, that Thunderbolt, how much does the Thunderbolt matter? Because he probably would have swung with that queen unless he was playing it really, really safe. I don't know, maybe you don't swing with that queen just because, I don't know. He gets a 1k out of life. Not the best, but at least it's counter. Katakuri attacking for 8. Or not. Yep, attacking for 8 with the 7-drop mom. Again, he has the 2 2Ks, but it's a little bit awkward. He could take this one as well. It's scary to take that one, but it's scary like to defend that one, because then, I mean, you don't have like any counter in hand besides 2 1Ks. I don't know. It's just a bad spot. It's a bad spot. If you're the Luffy player, you're trying to get out of this turn with 1 body and still being alive. How do you do that? I don't know if you can do that. If you take this, there's still an 8k swing. There's Sparrow, there's Leader. We know that he has the Thunderbolt. I mean, in his mind, all he really has to do is just defend 1 swing and then block out of the other 2. And then if he swings with Pudding, he probably didn't commit as much Dawn on like his Sparrow or Leader. So you can probably get out of one of those with the counter in hand. So maybe you take this hit. Nah, you don't take this hit. You probably double 2k and put him on half the Thunderbolt, because that's the only way I think he wins. Because if you double 2k and then he swings for 8 with Katakuri, you take that, and then the next 2 hits would just be like 7 with Katakuri, block that, at least 6 with Sparrow. That could get double 1k'd out of, and then Pudding, it wouldn't matter because you'd still have a blocker for Pudding. So yeah, he does live this if the opponent doesn't have Thunderbolt, I'm pretty sure. Unless there's some better math that I'm just not thinking of. But it's definitely just, yeah, swing with 8 cat. This can be countered. And he's kind of in the same spot relatively. you probably do take those double 2Ks. And what is the math to like try to go for you? You need at least 3 to swing with pudding if you're doing that. So then you'd have 4 to work with. So you can go like 7 Parasparrow, 8 leader. See, I think maybe that does just win regardless. No, but then the pudding still just gets 1K'd. So yeah, I mean it's literally just put him on half the Thunderbolt. So yeah, dropping the 2 2Ks. And needs at least 2 Dawn for the Thunderbolt. Looks like he wants to commit 2 Dawn on leader. Sorry if there's any background noise right now. A lot of movement going on in my place. But swinging a 4/8 with Katakuri. Looking at his life. Luffy just has to take this block. Yep. And then it's just Thunderbolt from Katakuri. Attack for 8 with the Parasparrow. And that should just be lethal. Trashing another 7 Mom off life. And then 8 with Parasparrow. And yep, Luffy doesn't have it. It gives him the handshake. So Katakuri actually takes that one. So interesting. Very interesting. No Sakazuki in the finals. Katakuri taking it over Luffy. I think Luffy probably does fine in this matchup. It's just kind of it's probably even. I'd imagine it's even. But he didn't really see like 7-drop Kid on curve or 9 Kaido at all that game. So those definitely could have been deciding factors, but we saw him play against Katakuri one of the other games, and just playing blockers was kind of enough, so yeah, good game, good game. I will hopefully see you guys soon. We'll start up with the other preliminary tournament, probably tomorrow when you guys are seeing this. I'm feeling a lot better. Don't really have the cough, so that's not really messing up the recording. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.